Okay, I think we're nearly starting. Yeah. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Monkey Tail podcast. New time of 10:30 in the morning. No one told me about this, but
Everyone told you about
Everyone told you.
it.
I am your host, Bruno Pinto, and with me, as ever, I have my friend slash co-host, Mr. Marius Dunkley,
Hello, everybody.
and captain of the boat, Mr. Ben Jenkins. How are you doing, sir?
Good
Welcome,
morning. I'm well.
welcome
Very well.
back.
Good to see
Yeah.
you guys. Thank you very much. It's
I'm
been
a
a
bit,
while.
I'm a bit jealous that you got a bit of aircon going on in your room there. That's how did you manage to get that? You know what I mean?
Because I live in an office, remember? Although the air conditioning doesn't work.
Oh, wow. I to be fair, as I said that, I was in my back of my mind, I was thinking, "There's no way that thing works." But
It's plugged in and the remotes seem to do something, but the units themselves don't seem to work. But, it's not too bad. There is heaters as well, so it's nice and cool. And cool in the summer and hot in the winter. So that's all.
that's what you like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Very good, very good. All right, so we're recording. This is the last podcast we do before our special Game of the Generation podcast. So I'll start by saying it at the top and then at the end as well. Do send us your top games of the generation. So that's from I think it's about November 2013. I think the 2nd of
It is
November.
exactly in November 2013, yeah.
There you go. That's when the PlayStation came out, and I believe the Xbox came out a week later.
Xbox. Yeah, they were about the same time. Yeah.
Till November this year, 2020. That's what obviously when the new consoles came out. So any game that came out between those two times in any platform is available. Send us your top 5. We'll read them out on the next podcast. We'll be doing our top 5. And I know you're thinking as well, how is that different from the game of the decade? Well, it's slightly different because we don't include the first 3 years and we include one more year on top of it. So, you know. Also, to be fair, there was a game last year. I'm not going to say which game it is, but there was a game last year which I didn't play until this year, which not only would have made my game of the year last year, which it didn't because I didn't play it. It might even make my game of it might even go to game of the generation. So there's gonna be some, and I'm sure, like me, Marius and Ben will be on the similar scenarios where the games they
Yeah,
play.
I've got a few like that. I get a few Christmas games generally that don't often make it into my game of the year discussions because I don't have time to play them before the podcast. But
Right, yeah,
And I don't play games the year they came out anyway.
exactly.
In fact, this year's actually been quite good. I've actually bought a few brand new day of release games this year, which is very unusual.
Okay, that's I guess that's a good question to start with then, which is what's the game like? What's the game you played much later on that you go like, oh my god, why didn't I play this when it came out? And this game is, this game not only would have made my top 5 or whatever, you would have, it would have been like maybe even first. Because for me, I got a few like that. I mean, I'm not gonna say the other one that I just led with because I don't want to spoil next podcast. But certainly something like Rogue Legacy. I played Rogue Legacy, I think a couple years after it came out, and I thought, wow, what is this? I mean, Enslaved I played much later on as well. Enslaved from when it actually came out, but Enslaved was brilliant. And not to bury the lead, but we'll talk more about it later. Tetris Effect. I think it came out a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I played it for the first time this week, and I thought, wow, this is brilliant. And I have a bone to pick with both of you because none of you told me the game was good.
it's Tetris. We don't need to tell anybody that Tetris is good.
No, but what he failed to tell me is that and we'll bury the lead again, that yes, it is Tetris, right? And it is Tetris at the pure core of it, but it's Tetris in the middle of the screen. Everything else that's happening. Wait. Everything else that's happening.
Not on the right hand side anymore.
Everything else that's happening on the side of the screen, especially with the ultra wide. And by the way, I think that's the best ultra wide game I played so far. Everything that's happening on the side of the screen, the music, the vibrations on the controller in time with the music, the change of rhythm from really fast to slow to fast, to to organically changing it and taking you on that ride. it's fucking brilliant. It's not Tetris.
Um,
It's much more than that. So
I'm assuming you've not played it in VR because that is obviously the ultimate ultra wide
Yeah.
encompassing. You're a little bit closer to the board as well, so it is a
I
really good
I
game. It
haven't
is Tetris, but like you say, it's got
I
so many
Yeah, I
new
haven't
bits.
played it in VR, but well, more on that when we talk about it. We'll just discuss it a bit more on the playlist. But yeah, so what's your games then? I was giving lots of games to give you guys time to think about it.
I think there's got to be others. Oh, in fact, I can think of two. I think Bioshock. I didn't play that immediately because I didn't have an Xbox and the PC I had at the time was incapable of running it. Although I did try
Hmm.
and failed miserably, it was unplayable. So that was one that I took a while to get to,
Yeah,
an absolute classic, and the Yakuza game as well. Um, that was obviously released years ago on, was it PS2? I think was the first one, and I've only just got to it last year on the remake, and I think that's absolutely phenomenal game.
yeah. No, that's. I mean, yeah, good. Couple good one. I haven't played Yakuza. Bioshock, yeah, I forget, and it'll be funny when we talk about the games of the generation because um I forget that Bioshock was an exclusive to start with for Microsoft, and it came out on the
Hmm.
PlayStation much I think like 2 or 3 years later. Same with Mass
Yeah,
Effect. I think Mass Effect
yeah.
was a similar. Mass Effect 2 I think was only came out on PlayStation a few years later. And I think more and more we're gonna see a lot more things like that with the new generation. It's more like the time exclusives. It will be like a year before it
Mhm.
comes out on the other one because we were talking just Tetris Effect just now, and obviously there's things like No Man's Sky and all of these things are all coming out on or have come out, on Xbox now subsequently. Um, so it's interesting. Yeah, we'll talk more on the next podcast when it comes to the generation just gone. But yeah, those are a couple good games. What about yourself, Ben?
Uh, in recent history, Resident Evil 2. I didn't play it on the PlayStation. I played the remake earlier this year. Yeah, it was during the first lockdown actually. That's probably one of those ones that like bloody hell, I should have done that a lot sooner.
Mhm.
Definitely on the
Our
remake.
our game of the year last year. Yes,
Yeah,
perhaps,
and again,
perhaps.
I never got round to it. I happened to borrow it at the time that the UK was in complete lockdown, and I sat and finished it beginning to end, and I was like, wow, this is a truly incredible game. Um, but you mentioned Bioshock. I did the thing of playing it for a bit. Didn't really grab me the first time, and then I finished it about 4 or 5 years later, and then was like, oh, actually, no, this really is a good game. And you mentioned Rogue Legacy. Again, it's a PlayStation Plus game that I didn't realize I had on PlayStation Plus, and that had came out obviously a long time after the initial release. So yeah, I've just had a look through my games, but Resident Evil 2, I think, is the biggest. Oh shit! Why didn't I play this when everyone was ranting about it?
I mean, yes. I mean, because you're talking about you didn't play the remake when everyone was ranting about it, not so much.
Yeah, and I hadn't played the original either,
Anyway, yeah,
so
okay, get you. Yeah.
I was sort of what 20 years too late.
Resident Evil
15.
was. I think Marius and I are on the same page on this one because it not only was so good that when we finished the first playthrough with one of the characters, we went straight we like pretty much start again with the other one. Like, yep, let's go again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've yet to do that.
Yeah,
I ended up giving the game back, but
it's a different
no, I'm,
story. It's a different
yeah,
story with the other character. I mean, not significantly different, but certainly different enough that there's actually new different areas and different dialogues options. Lots of different. It is a different campaign. Uh,
yeah. In fact,
ultimately
I
and
might try to put
ultimately
that in too.
ending on a similar note, but certainly they're different campaigns for sure. And that, in fact, there's two campaigns per person because then there's the
Yeah,
alternative.
and yeah,
Yeah, and again, those ones are less different, but still different as well, and they're all great. Resident Evil 2. And Resident Evil 2 is what I like about it when it is that it came out and became now the standard for whenever we talk about what's a
new
good
remake.
remake needs to aspire to, and that's it's that or anything that Bluepoint does normally. Even though
Bluepoint was so good at it.
the only thing I'll say about Bluepoint is that they tend to care more about how the game looks than how the game runs. So they'll target more the game looking absolutely stupendous over the game running at 60 frames and running really well. So I think to be fair, I think on the PlayStation Pro you can change between the two, between 60 and 4K, but they need to try and get more of a balance going, that like just for look amazing, but also run at more modern.
I've heard rumors that they're doing a Metal Gear Solid remake.
Yeah, it's. I've just
Yes.
googled that now. It doesn't seem to be anything like legitimate evidence.
No,
I mean,
yet.
there has
No.
been a remake already, and the problem with the remake that's been done, was it Twin Snakes was called?
Yeah.
On the GameCube. That game was great, but the problem with it is they use a lot of the mechanics from Metal Gear Solid 2, things like hiding in lockers and everything, making the game. And using those mechanics made the first game a lot easier in certain parts, because there was mechanics from the other one. So that was the problem with Twin Snakes, was that by bringing all these new features from the later titles, they didn't quite change the curve and the difficulty of the first one to make it more cohesive. So I think the Twin Snakes was far easier than actual Metal Gear 1 was, but it did look pretty, and I did play it from beginning to end and loved it as well, of course. So yeah, I'll definitely be game for another Metal Gear, but yes, as long as they don't follow the same mistakes there. They don't bring everything from Metal Gear 5 and make the game like a breeze through,
I don't think they would. That's not the way that they tend to approach their remakes. It's that they're very faithful to the original while still making improvements where needed. And there's things would have to be changed in that game. They can't. It's impossible to keep it exactly as it was.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because there's things like getting the radio frequency on the back of the game pad of the case. That would have to stay there. Wasn't there a part? Correct me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't there a part?
How would that stay there on a digital edition?
That's what I'm saying.
It would be a link to a manual or something, probably.
They'll have to think outside of the box, but
you did that.
Thank you. Yeah. What about, that wasn't even on purpose though.
He would have. I knew it wasn't on purpose because he didn't call.
He would have mentioned it if it was.
If he meant to do it, he'd have to point towards. Look what I did there, everybody.
But it'll be interesting to see how they do certain things. I mean, certain things will be easier to make. Wasn't there a part on Metal Gear where you had to identify which one was the girl on your team by looking at the way that they walk?
Looking at the ass, yes.
Yes. So
again, classic Kojima inappropriateness.
Hey, listen, it is inappropriate, but I demand that to be there on the on the remake. If it's not there,
it'll give a lot of people a lot of reason to go mad on the internet when it. So I support it just to see the shit show of that.
Yes. So yeah, I'm game for anything Metal Gear anyway. So yeah, cool. So yeah, that's playing games a lot later than they came out, and that's pretty much Adam. That's what Adam does. Adam plays games 3 or 4 years later after they came out, and I must say, taking away some of the big hitters that we want to cover here, I tend to do that. I mean, especially now with Game Pass and Epic Games and all of these things, the games will come out eventually, either really cheap or included on your service. A year later. There's really no point to rush to anything unless you really want to play it. That's no point on coming in.
I reckon it would probably happen more and more. Obviously, with games being 70, 80, 90 quid now. On day of release with all the expansions or the season passes and things like that. I think that will.
There's just been no reason. Like particularly starting this year, this is the first year that I've really avoided buying things straight away. There certainly are games that I have bought straight away this year, like the Last of Us 2s, the Half-Life Alyxes, stuff like that. But most things, there's just absolutely no point because I've got such a vast library of games that I haven't played already anyway, to keep me busy. And B, most of these things, sooner or later, you're going to be able to play them on
for
some sort of
£5 a month or
subscription
whatever.
service or something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I have bought few new games though. I haven't had the chance to play all of them this week. But that's a good move over to the playlist now. But we can move on over to the playlist. But I did buy that bundle from Humble Bundle with all those VR games. So I'll be playing Sons and Sinners soon. And
Oh, you did go for that. See, I didn't. I steeled myself and held firm on my not buying things.
I looked at the reviews. I looked at the game Saints and Sinners, and I thought it's the price was worth alone for that game. I would have paid.
Yeah.
I would, if the game was at that price on Steam, I would have bought it to play it. So once I made that leap, then it was a no-brainer, right? Because then you just get the other ones as well included. But I will be playing that fairly soon, and it'll be my. I don't play on my VR very often, but when I do, I play the top titles. So I also want to replay a bit of Half-Life. Half-Life Alex. I did say let's move over to the list while completely ignoring that looks interesting. So I'm gonna actually take it back. I'm gonna take it back to that looks interesting because I don't know why I'm trying to jump ahead. We need to talk about the game news. But before we can I start by saying one that I didn't put that on purpose because so you wouldn't try and cut it out. Yep.
You tried to cut it out yourself by skipping the entire section.
I did try to cut it out. So Gabe Newell likes the achievement Little Rocket Man so much that he actually got I forgot the name of the gnome. He got the gnome inside one of the latest rockets to be shot up into the.
Oh, it was in a SpaceX rocket, was it?
Yeah, it was in a SpaceX rocket. So he unlocked the achievement himself, and to celebrate that, they actually added a new achievement to Half-Life 2 Episode 2, where if you just log into the game, you get the achievement as well for sending the gnome onto space. And you gotta love Valve for that. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I do like that. Yeah, that is quite cool.
So he was able to do it in real life. So fair play to him and fair play to Valve. I love Valve. I love everything they do. And when are we getting some more Valve games? You know, they promised us. I mean, I know. They just gave us a fantastic game now. But I want more.
It's another decade. Wait.
Yeah, Ben's right.
Which one next?
Have another one to play in retirement.
Left 4 Dead next. We take a new Left 4 Dead or
it's potential. Yeah, I think there's potential.
Or a Portal. I'll prefer a Portal.
Portal's higher.
Portal would be good. I mean, Left 4 Dead is still played now. Like, it's still a great game. It still holds up. I played it not too long ago.
Let me just tell you this: all their games are still played. You know, everyone is still playing. Everyone is still playing Half-Life 1 and 2 still because it's Portal 1 and 2. Both of those games are played all the time. People just love those games.
I like something completely new from them.
Yeah, I would as well.
Oh no! I tell you what, I'd like the game that Campo Santo were working on before they were bought by Valve. That's the next game I want from Valve.
Yes, I forgot the name of the game now. It was in
Gods Among the Gods, something about gods. Gods in Egypt, gods everywhere.
Among Gods,
gods all around us.
Among
Fear
Gods.
the Gods. Valley of the Gods.
Valley of the Gods.
That's the
one. Yeah.
We got our resident fact check there. Okay, let's that was my bit of news. Let's move over to okay, so we got here what's his Xbox TV app?
Yeah. Phil Spencer in an interview has said he thinks it's like he didn't 100% confirm it, but something along the lines of he thinks it's likely that Xbox will release a smart TV app so that you can play Xbox games without a console, probably within the next 12 months.
And that makes a lot of sense. That's Xbox xCloud essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So console's completely redundant soon.
Sony said that last generation. They were, I think someone in Japan had said like that this is the last hardware generation, and then they announced the PS5. But yeah, I think when internet speeds get better, it's going to be apps for everything. There is already apps for everything.
Yes, and this is what I've been saying on my soapbox. I know no one can buy any consoles at the moment because everything is sold out. Yeah, and from the 2 consoles or the 4 in case consoles that are out now, I will be getting a Sony console because I do like their exclusives, right? But I said it before. I'll say it again. Microsoft is doing is the one on the better path because they have Game Pass and they're gonna be they're gonna be saying, we're selling you Game Pass and you have it on wherever you want. You want it on your TV app? No problem. Have it on your TV app. You want it on your big beefy gaming PC? Fantastic. You want the to have it locally, but you haven't got a beefy PC? Buy the Xbox, Series X then. Oh, are you okay with?
Phone.
Are you okay with 1080p only? 1440p? Fine. Get the Series S instead. No problem.
Yeah.
And now don't be surprised if they come up with a little stick as well, which you just go HDMI straight into TV and then you just play it on older TVs that haven't got app. They just have the right path. They know exactly what they're doing, and that's why ultimately at the when we do the when we do the generation again in whenever however long that takes, and we talk about the generation just gone. Sony may or may not have sold more consoles. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I can tell you that the one that made the most money and the biggest impact is going to be Microsoft to Game Pass. They're in the right path.
Yeah, probably right. Although Sony have said that they have a plan that they have some announcement coming regarding their competition, how they're going to compete with Game Pass. So it'll be interesting to see what that actually is once they announce it. I'm expecting some half-assed effort, to be honest with you.
I would love for them to come out and do like same thing, $7.99 whatever, yeah, and
get everything.
You get everything, and if they did that, I would have both. As simple as that. I'll have both.
Yeah, absolutely.
No issues. Yeah. So I actually want them to succeed. I don't expect they'll do that.
I don't either. Like I said, there'll be something very Sony about it that will they'll take one step forward while shooting themselves in the foot in some weird way.
They'll do something like yes, you get all the games, but you can only play them for 2 hours each or something, or you can only play one of them a month. Once you play one, you cannot play the other ones or something. It'll be something stupid like that. Yes. So yeah, an Xbox app, yes, please. I mean, when they heard about this, because the xCloud thing, I wanted, definitely wanted. I mean, at the moment, no, obviously I don't need it at the moment, but being able to even my graphics card, which is a beefy graphics card, which I might as well throw in a bin now because it's obviously not the fastest thing anymore. But my graphics card is still obviously a very powerful graphics card that I can do ray tracing with. But even that, I struggle to go over like 60, 70 frames per second when you're doing ray tracing as well at the same time. But if you can do all of that work, that horsepower away, and you don't have all the noise from the fans ramping up from doing it, all the costs that takes to get the hardware to do that, and you have something else doing that, miles away in some server, and you just get piped to TV with all that definition, and if they get the latency to be right, that's the future, right? That's what you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I want to be eventually. Yeah. So Xbox TV app, yes please on that. Right. Staying with the new consoles, Ben wants to talk about the scalpers of PS5 have no regrets. Why would they have regrets?
Yeah, no, I don't know how new the news story is generally, but obviously there's one group in the UK of 12 or so people that have got 3,500 PS5s.
Yeah.
They claim that it wasn't set up by bots; it was just pre-planning and foresight to be like, oh, we're going to buy them and sell them at a profit.
Yeah.
They're trying to make £350,000 profit, and they don't care. And they've basically just said, yeah, we're putting food on the table for our family.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have one of the unpopular opinions on this. Fair play to them. They're doing their thing. They're finding a way to make money. The problem there is not the scalpers. The problem is the idiots that buy from the scalpers.
Buy them, yes, that is very true.
That's the issue. The scalpers themselves, if they're able to make money out of stupid people, there's nothing illegal in what they're doing. Make money out of stupid people.
I agree with you on that one.
You're an idiot if you buy off those people for an. I understand there's reasons people want to buy them for their kids and don't want to disappoint their kids and stuff like that. But see, I'm much more teach your kid a life lesson. You don't always get what you want when you want it. Deal with it, mate. Happy Christmas, hey, Father of the Year. But like, yeah, it's the people buying them that's the problem there, not the people doing that. That the people doing that are not actually doing anything wrong. It might be morally questionable. I get that, but like, if people are going to buy a PS4 for £1,000, then let them buy it for £1,000.
Right,
Idiots.
Right. Okay. So on that, by all means, I think if pretty much echo most of what Marius just said there. I'm more or less on the same page as he is. Apart from it is illegal. When you're selling something like that, you're not paying tax, you're not paying, like and stuff like that on your profits that you're making. You cannot just once you. There's tax exemptions when you do like a secondhand market, when you go and sell something on Gumtree, when you sell your console or something. The government doesn't get involved because it's like one little thing. But once you start doing like big numbers, you actually dodging tax. So it is illegal to do it without proper.
Okay, well, I don't know enough about that to know how accurate that is. And
think about that. If everyone was doing it,
no, I understand that, but like there's obviously there'd be some very specific rules there, and whether these individuals are breaking them or not, I don't know enough to say. But even so,
regardless, I agree with you. It's down to the individuals. I remember when the Wii came out. Wow, a long time ago. I bought the Wii because I pre-ordered it and I bought it, and I for whatever it was, I think 180, whatever, 170, whatever it was when it came out, and then Christmas came around and you couldn't buy a Wii for anyone. No one could buy a Wii. They was sold out everywhere. And I was starting seeing. I know I had been playing on mine for ages already. Like I had it for like a month already or so, and I was going for stupid money. I think I sold mine for like £300. Like, oh, okay. So I just put it back in the box, like used, put it on eBay, used but good condition. So for like £300, I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll wait. I'll take the nearly double the cost. Absolutely no issues with that. And you know what I thought at the time? I wish I had bought more. Of course I wish. Of course. If people are stupid enough to give me, nearly double for something I've been using already, I'll do it. And when it came out, I bought. I waited literally, I think, another month, and I bought like a bundle edition for like 200 with like a couple games. I'm like, yep, quid's in.
Yeah, I think my only thing against those people, I guess, is the impact that they're having on availability for people that genuinely just want to buy the console. Like, if I'd been up for a console on day one and hadn't been able to get it, then I'd be a lot more angry about it than I am now. That's, I think, is the biggest impact.
What I would say about this is, from everyone I know that wanted a next gen console, every single person that wanted the next gen console and pre-ordered it before it came out has had one, pretty much, yeah. So most of these people, myself included, that going like, I wish I had. I mean, I would not pay £20 more than it costs, by the way, yeah. But most of these people that I'll pay the same. I'll pay if that was available. Yeah, but if most of these people that are saying, "Oh, I couldn't get one," is because they did not pre-order it. And if you don't pre-order something that's obviously gonna be limited supply, then it's your own fault. And I always say in here, never pre-order things. Of course not.
Not games, but consoles.
But consoles,
yes. If you want it day one, pre-ordering is essential.
Exactly. So you guys only have yourselves to blame. And if you're gonna pay double what it costs, you obviously have too much money on your hands. I mean, it's fair enough.
Just as a little side to this, so I've just had a quick look on eBay for PS5s, and there's someone selling a loaf of bread with a PS5 sticker on it for £299. And it says Sony PlayStation 5 Eatable Edition. Tastes very good with butter. The brand I use is, I can't believe it's not a PS5. Strictly no refunds. It's not a PS5.
But,
I actually I actually have a lot. You think that's funny, but I actually have a lot more issues. I mean, that one is obviously satire, but I have a lot more issues with people like that because there are idiots in the world. Don't forget that somebody will bid on that, thinking it is a PS5. So to me, I have a lot more problem with people doing that than actual scalpers selling the actual console at a higher price. Because you see a lot of people going like. Get a PS5 and then shows a picture and then on tiny print at the bottom. Oh, this is a picture. Of
Yeah, I actually agree. Yeah, that's more egregious than the scalpers.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that one I think it would be hard pressed to actually anyone buying the bread. But I'm saying I actually have a bigger problem with people just selling something which is not what it is than the actual people selling the console for a lot more.
So what do you reckon is going to happen? Obviously, when Sony release more stock, do you think these guys are going to be stuck with the stock, or they'll just eventually just dropping their prices down to
they have nothing
retail?
They have nothing to lose because they can sell it at retail at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And they will sell it at retail if they can.
It doesn't look like anyone's buying them on the listings currently.
When the Oculus came out. Oh, no, the Oculus, sorry, the PSVR came out. It was sold out for that Christmas as well. If you guys remember, again for the people that hadn't pre-ordered it, and my boss, the actual director of the company, called because he knows I have a video game podcast and all that shit. He called me from Ireland and he said, "My son has everything. He wants a PSVR and it's sold out. Okay, you need to get me one." I'm like, "It's sold out. You need to get me one. I don't care how much it costs, right?" So I think I paid £100 more than retail, and I got him one. Yeah, no problem. So that's the only time I think I paid. But there's people like that. They're gonna be going like, I have money. My kid fucking moaning about it. So
that wants it, yeah,
and they'll buy it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that my boss would have paid $1,000 for the PSVR. I don't think he would have, but I think he was prepared to go up to 500 or something at the time because his kid wanted one and he didn't have one. So and he was quite happy to pay for it. I wouldn't have obviously bought it, but you know, so if you have the money, that's why they'll sell some, if not most of them, with people that
with some that just want it for Christmas.
Yeah, and then even if they have some stock left, they'll just lower the price to more or less the same as retail, and they'll sell the rest. It's a very easy investment, that one to make. Yeah.
So I think that the PSA is don't buy any consoles from eBay at the minute.
It's actually a blessing in disguise because the PlayStation, more than the Xbox, the PlayStation has had lots of issues right off the box. You know, again, that pun was intended. See, I point out when I do the pun. And that was a callback. Now I'm doing a point out on the callback. Anyway, they've had some issues right off the box. Things like the DVD drive, the Blu-ray drive starts spinning for no reason, making a lot of noise, and there's a few issues here and there with the PlayStation. I think the Xbox has had a couple issues as well, but nothing to that extent. Which tells me that probably waiting for them to revise and fix those issues before as they release them, it's probably not a bad idea anyway.
Yeah, I mean that isn't news, is it?
Oh, yeah, I know it happens.
The first release of any console, you're essentially a beta tester.
Exactly. So I'm saying it's probably a blessing in disguise not being able to get one anyway, because then you get one. I mean, I bought my Switch on day one when it came out. In fact, that was the last console I pre-ordered, and I bought it to play one game only, which was Breath of the Wild, and it was worth all the money for it at the time. I played other games subsequently, of course, but I think if I wasn't certain way, but like a year later, they started coming out with better battery and things like that. You know, so you know, but because I bought one on day one, mine is not as good as other ones like that as well. So you know, that's what happens when you buy day one. Right, okay, let's move on to a bit of news here from Marius, which is there's a new Bond game announced from IO. What's IO again? It's
IO Interactive,
Hitman people, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this. Firstly, there hasn't been a Bond game for some time. There certainly hasn't been a good one for a long time.
Yeah,
And I think that announcement, that mix between IO and Bond, sounds like an absolutely perfect match. I think sort of Bond, like that Hitman type of gameplay, but with all the Bond trimmings around it, sounds like a fucking great game to me.
it does. And did you know that they're actually going back to the James Bond earning his 00 status? So it
Yeah,
started.
they're going to an origin story, which they're claiming is the first time it's ever been done. But I understand that's bollocks because it has been, it's been done before in other media. Uh, but but there you go.
I
That doesn't really matter.
Incidentally as well, I think Casino Royale, which was when they went back to basics as well, with Daniel Craig as the beginning of Bond as well, him earning his 00 status is still today probably my favorite Bond movie actually. Casino Royale, I think. I know it's a controversial thing to say. I know, especially with Sean Connery passing not long ago and having some great movies as well. But yeah, I quite like a good origin story. No, it's not the first time it's been done, but it's certainly welcome. I think so.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So I mean, there's no real details. It's just super excited for that.
They're just
I mean,
hiring at the moment. They're putting LinkedIn
yeah.
posts and stuff like hiring top talent. The good thing is they are hiring top echelon artists and
Well,
programmers.
yeah, they would be. It's IO. They're not gonna.
They're not gonna have
You've seen
some.
the games they make. They make
Yeah.
freaking top tier games. They're
So you're saying
not
I'm
gonna
not
get
gonna get
some.
hired to go and
No.
do some dialogue? Yeah. My name is Bruno. Oh no,
Voice
that's the wrong way
acting.
around. My name is Pinto. Bruno Pinto. um.
Right,
Cool.
you may now. I give permission now for you to move on to the playlist, Bruno.
I most certainly will move over to the playlist now. Let's start straight away on the playlist with Observer, because both myself and Marius have been playing Observer. I'll let Marius start. I'll just say that I have played the game before. I think when it came out like a couple years ago, I played and talked about it on the podcast. And I'm now playing the Redux version, the new version with the ray tracing and 4K and all of that good things. Marius, which version are you playing?
The bog standard. It's
Oh,
been on Steam.
okay.
Yeah, it's been on my list for quite some time. And when you mentioned it last time, I thought, yep, now sounds like a good time to get in on it. I mean, a bit like Tetris Effect. I don't understand why you never mentioned this before. Uh, it's a bloody great game. Absolutely love it. So for anyone that's not aware of it, it's like in a sort of cyberpunky setting, very Blade Runner ish type setting. Um, there's people with loads like bit Deus Exy as well. Everyone's got sort of robotic or cybernetic
Augmentations.
augmentations, and there's I mean, the very start was a bit close to home because there's been some big massive sort of plague that's affecting people with these augmentations. So it was a little bit close to home there, but hey, and essentially you're investigating what's happened to your son. Um,
Yeah, you
uh,
play a detective played by
yeah,
Rutger Hauer, so it doesn't get more Blade Runner than playing
yes,
with Rutger
it
Hauer.
stinks of Blade Runner
Yeah.
through out of every pore.
Mhm.
um, and yeah, I really liked it. There's no combat in there at all. It's just investigating what's gone on. So talking to various people through their doorbells, basically.
Mhm.
Uh,
The different
um,
visions you have for
yeah, so like you've got a like you can investigate the crime scene like via looking for organic things or looking at sort of technology that's in the room. Um, I think that you can sort of hack into people's minds as well, which those sections are really cool. They're real abstract and weird sections, sort of telling you about things that happened in the past. Um, I absolutely loved it. I think the whole premise is great. The mechanics are brilliant. I mean, this is a surefire VR candidate. This game should be in VR. It would be absolutely excellent in VR. Um, there's a mini game. If you find a PC in any of the rooms, there's a little mini game that you can play. Um, I don't know whether you played any of those, Bruno, but I thought that was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. Little sort of moving around a maze, and the enemies sort of come after you and follow you around the maze, so you have to pick the right route to lead them all in the right way. That was really good.
I actually haven't done it on the Redux version yet, because by the way, the Redux version is exactly the same, just with obviously with prettier.
Just prettier.
Prettier. Yeah. I haven't, but I've done it when I originally played it. Yes. I guess one thing I want to talk before you finish your thoughts there, Maris, is in terms of is the Redux version worth it? I think if you haven't bought the game yet, if you haven't got the game at all, then absolutely get the Redux version. Of course, get the newer version, because it does look immense. If you already have the Observer version, the normal one, is it worth buying the upgrade or buying the new version? I think if you really like how a game looks, if you really are into your ray tracing and real-time reflections and great lighting effects, all of that, and this game is a lot of light all over the place, yeah. For me, yes, it's worth it, but it's not really bringing anything. I mean, when I play Minecraft and you go Minecraft and then you go Minecraft RTX, Minecraft RTX is a whole new beast. It just brings a whole new level to the game. On this one here, it absolutely adds to the atmosphere. It absolutely adds to the game, but it doesn't really add to the story. It doesn't really add to the experience. The first game was already great, and this one is just it's just as great, but looks prettier. So I think it's like 20 or 30 quid the upgrade. It's hard to recommend the upgrade, unless you really like your ray tracing. But it's very easy to recommend the game because it's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, it is a great game. I mean, I have one real question for you though, Bruno.
Yeah.
Because this game is essentially part horror game and part explore 'em up. Why the fuck do you like it? Other than the Blade Runner stuff, because that's the only thing that says Bruno to me in this game. Everything else about the game is something you should hate. Why do you like it?
Blade Runner.
That's the only thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Blade Runner. I love Cyberpunk. I love the you said at the beginning, the Blade Runner, the Deus Ex. I mean, Rutger Hauer's in this. I mean, he's great. He's great, and he's great. I mean, great acting in games. Sometimes it's forgotten. I think because games have had some great acting, over the years now, that it's almost goes like unmentioned. The acting is great on this, from him, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Is there anything about the gameplay that you actually enjoy?
The exploration part, the changing the not exploration part, the investigation part. So looking for clues by changing the different augmentation views to look for organic matter and all.
That's like a David Cage game. That's just David Cage.
I liked that I'm a big fan of Heavy Rain. I've said this before. And Heavy Rain is everything you just said as well, right? So it's not that I cannot enjoy a game like that. Yeah. I think. And
you don't do a lot. There's not a lot of gameplay there, really. It's like I say, it's more of an explorer map.
So for me, an explorer map, it only works if if I buy into the story, if I buy into the characters, if I buy into the thing. I'll give you an example of that's Dear Esther. That's the one, Dear Esther. Yeah, awful game. Yeah, awful game. Because
I didn't like that.
You're just walking forward. People go mad about it. I'm like, no, thank you. On this one, you're not just exploring. Yes, you are exploring. There is no fight scenes, nothing like that. But you are investigating a crime. You have to. There is puzzles to get out of rooms and stuff like that. Yes. So there is. I would put it closer to a point and click game, which I also like. I'm into my point and click games anyway. My Broken Swords and all of that. But what I would say about this though, you mentioned David Cage there. David Cage would have ruined this game. Would you agree that David Cage would have fucked this game up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. yeah, without a doubt.
And I think they show more restriction on this game than it shows
Yeah,
others.
a bit more straight. That's fair enough. I was just really surprised as I was playing it. I was like, horror, walking around doing basically nothing. I see the Blade Runner stuff. I just couldn't. I couldn't understand why you like it so much, because it just
Yeah.
doesn't say anything about from knowing you. There's nothing that says Bruno
I mean,
apart
this
from it being a
horror
bit like
thing,
Blade Runner.
this horror thing has gone on long enough. You know, I mean, I play lots of horror games. What is this thing about this idea that I cannot play a horror game is? I mean, I take the point on the Explorer map stuff. I agree. I mean, most of them I don't like. Most of them I don't like. Yeah. Definitely not. But I think I had Firewatch on my top 5 games of the year when it came out. You know, Heavy Rain was one of my favorite games of the year when it came out.
Yeah, I get that. None of which were horror games, and your point was about...
No.
He's justifying Explorer maps.
I'm justifying Explorer maps to start with, yeah.
Okay.
And then when it comes to horror games, I played and finished what's the one where you have a camera with the battery keeps going off? I played that from beginning to end.
Oh, that's well done. That's one. That's
Outlast.
1 4
I
5
played
hour
Resident Evil. I played Silent Hill.
Have you played Resident Evil 7 yet?
No, because I'm waiting for the VR thing. I played I played the.
So full of shit.
I played Dead Space.
Okay, right. I see the theme. Apart from one there, first person horror game. You play survival horror games.
Yes, yeah,
which
I do.
are different.
Okay.
You don't play real true horror games.
Outlast is a horror game.
Particularly first person. That's one that
Manhunt I played as
That's the
well.
one.
Manhunt. That's not a horror game.
Great game though.
It's great. Right, I'm going to insist, like, before we keep just listing horror games, let's move on, because otherwise this podcast is never going to end.
But I'm glad you like it, because I told you.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
I told you one. Oh, sorry, the one in space we played recently as well. I played. Yeah.
No, observation.
Observation.
Horror. No, I'm not giving you that as a horror game.
But Explore 'em up.
Explore 'em up, yes.
Yes. So I'm saying I want you to explain to me where I don't where
because you always bitch about them.
I bitch about the shit ones. So my point is, if you're gonna make me not do anything, yeah, make me not do anything in a compelling way. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because and I mentioned like what 7, 8 titles that I finished that I explore maps. You know, so this I mean the horror, the first person horror. Now that you had to separate it so to try and take away all the horror games I played. Oh, by the way, I've been playing Alien Isolation as well. So there you go. That's another one, and I like it as well.
All right.
And by the way, it's still fucking scary, that one.
It's just scary. Yeah.
Attention.
You should play that in
Yeah, that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move over from all this horror stuff to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes. So this is on Game Pass. I've heard about it for some time. I know it's a bit of an indie darling. People seem to like it a lot, so I thought, hey, I'll give it a go on Game Pass. So it's essentially the setup is you're a security guard working the night shift at like a pizza joint that has loads of animatronic things in there. So like the American Chuck E. Cheese sort of chain, basically. I think that's the sort of thing that it's based on. And the game takes place in one room. You're just sat in your security office on the night shift on your own, and there are these 3 or 4 animatronic models in there, and your only interaction is with cameras. So you can flick through all the different security cameras, and you have a door on the left and the right of the office, which you can close the doors at any point. and you have some light switches as well, which you can illuminate the entrances to the office, which aren't actually caught on camera. And you basically you have to watch these things come alive at night, so you have to keep an eye on them through the cameras. You have a limited battery for the so everything that you use adds to the usage of your battery, so you can't just be on the cameras all throughout the night, otherwise you won't have any battery left, and basically once your battery left has run out, you're pretty much screwed. So obviously a bit of jump scare there when you don't know where these creatures are, and all of a sudden they jump out at you in the room. I think it builds tension really well, the way that you've got such limited capacity to do anything. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think for me it didn't fully click. There's a lot of just waiting around, and once like if you die, you just got to go and do it all again, and it's the repetition for me was a little bit too much. If you take your eye off the ball a little bit, just having to sit and wait for things to start again didn't quite click with me. But I think a really well made game. Definitely enjoyed it. If you're into that sort of thing, certainly give it a go. It's on Game Pass. How they've made another 3 games out of it, I think there's 4 now in total. I'm not quite sure. For me, there wasn't quite enough there to warrant a sequel. I think what the game did was brilliant. I think just doing the same thing, unless they're completely different, perhaps I've got it wrong and they massively changed the mechanics, but I don't think so. So yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Okay. That sounds good. I mean, I don't think it's my type of game, but it sounds.
No, I think it's a bit overrated. I thought it was good and it's quite clever, but I was surprised after hearing so much talk about it over the several years since it's been released. I was sort of expecting a little bit more from it.
Okay, sounds good. I've been playing a Xbox Game Pass game as well, Tetris Effect. We talked about it at the beginning, so I'm not gonna dwell too much on it. Other than I've finished the main campaign on normal, like the main thing, and then I've started it on the hardest difficulty. I'm nearly finished on that as well. I'm half, I'm half good at Tetris. By the way, when I say I'm half good at Tetris, I appreciate that there's those people that finish the game and then play with it, without seeing
It's
on the.
insane.
Yeah, I'm not that
high level Tetris is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm when I say I'm good at Tetris, I mean when you look at the mean average of people playing Tetris, I'm probably above average, but then not but nowhere near any of those obviously people like that. So I do like it a lot. Like I said, there's only one particular level which I don't like. It fucks my eyes up big much, which is the Da Vinci one, which is with the cogs instead.
Yeah, that one.
That level is not.
Scratchy on the eyes.
That level fucks my eyes up. It's not. That's. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that one. I really like the music on it. I really like the music. I think the music is excellent.
Fantastic
Throughout. Love the music. Most of the levels, especially the aquatic ones and the water and
just spacey ones are good as well.
They're all great. It's a great game. I always look when I first got my ultra wide, which is now nearly I think over a year now I've had it. I started looking for games to play in ultra wide, and that's some great games. I mean, racing games obviously lend themselves to ultra wide very much. But this is a perfect ultra wide game. And I know we're saying, Ben, about have you played it in VR? I haven't, because the Xbox Windows Store Xbox games, the ones you get on Game Pass, don't tend to have a support for
No, they don't. None of them do.
Which is a shame. But I would love to play it in VR. But I think, because you're focusing so much on the center of the map. That's why I said earlier. And then I have everything on my peripheral on the ultra wide. I think I am essentially playing it in VR. I'm not. But I think I'm going to be.
I don't accept that comment, but I actually, and obviously I haven't played it in extra wide.
Ultra wide. I like extra wide.
So I haven't played it in extra wide, but I think that's probably the best way to play Tetris Effect. I think that's probably actually better than VR, just because you've got a bet. I think you would have a better view of the actual game field than you do in VR, and you could probably play the game better. I think it's probably easier to play in extra wide, and like you say, you still get that sort of peripheral stuff.
You still get the
But
difference.
I think it's probably less distracting than it can be sometimes in VR. So obviously, I couldn't be sure until I've played it in ultra wide.
You need to try
But
it. You need to try it. I think it's the best ultra wide game I played, bar none. The best ultra wide game I played.
yeah, it does seem perfectly designed for that.
And I don't know about. I forgot what the refresh rate is on the Vive. I think is it 90 hertz or something. Something along those lines. I don't know. I think
Goes in my eyes, that's all
I think it's 70 hertz on the PlayStation, but I'm also playing at 120 hertz on my monitor. So you have the smooth, so it looks fantastic. It sounds amazing with the headphones on. Sounds amazing. Music is great. It's later Tetris games tend to have a hold feature. This one doesn't have one, which it was a bit of a learning curve, or certainly.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Okay, so I've been playing the
If you've been playing without hold.
the hold. I finished the game without being able to hold one piece back. Telling me that is a hold function.
Yes.
Yeah. There's only like 2 buttons. It's like rotate, drop, and hold.
Hold.
Wow.
To be fair, there's rotate left, rotate right.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
There's a
but
rotate right.
I
as
was
well?
I was rotating in one button.
Wow. Okay. That would have saved me a lot of times. The fucking being able to hold one part back.
And you can go into like the special mode, when you get, I think it's 14 lines. You go into the effects mode. Well,
Okay.
do you know what?
No,
I'm
I've only
referring
done
to?
I've only done the campaign. I finished the campaign. I'm doing it on hard now. That's all I've done.
Yeah.
But you can clear like 18 lines at a time, type thing. Do you know
Okay.
what I'm referring to? In this?
His head's about to explode.
He's just played Tetris.
I know what's
with a
happened.
fancy wide monitor.
He hasn't done the fucking tutorial.
That's right.
That's what he said.
It's Tetris. It's Tetris.
That's why. But you were looking for what stuff did it bring to that? What new stuff did it bring? If you look at the tutorial, it'll explain all of the things that we're talking about to you.
I finished. Okay.
This is why tutorials are good.
And this is why I was struggling because I think the highest I got was a B, and I was gonna ask you guys, how the fuck are you getting the high scores? Because I'm a good Tetris player. Like I said, I'm going at it and I'm destroying those lines, and then at the end I'm like, that was great. I mean, that was super fast. Every single piece I was slapping down at the high speed, I was getting everything, making all the right decisions. Finishes B. I'm like, what? How did I get a B? That was amazing.
So
Okay.
I was referring to zone mode. Have you not been in zone mode where
I've only played.
basically-
Okay, I'm gonna say it again for the third time, which is bad. I've
It-
only
it
played the
doesn't-
campaign.
Yeah, but that doesn't
No,
matter.
but-
It's a feature of the campaign.
it's a feature of, so basically if you clear 4 lines, it doesn't disappear the line straight away. So you could get 4 lines,
You
8
can
lines,
build up multiple
You can
lines.
build up. and it's on a timer, and essentially then the whole level clears and you get multiple scores. That's how you start getting A's and S ranks. So
Good. I love this game.
yeah. It's
Uh,
brilliant. It really is.
I love this game, and I'm disappointed that none of you told me how good the game
I think
was.
we did. You just chose not really to listen.
And before we move on,
I'm going to have to re-listen to the previous podcast because I'm pretty sure it was just a case of, it's just Tetris. How much better could it be?
No, I know. I 100% would have asked you guys what is it bringing new to the formula. I think that would have been a question that
You might have done, but I think at the end of the conversation you gave one of your classics. Sounds interesting, and then moved on to the
Moving
next
on.
game.
If I say sounds interesting, I'm never playing that game. By the way, Ben's on chat saying that when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy, they've added some new features, but not enough on the new titles, which is fair enough. Right. And hi Ben, by the way. Right. Let's move on to Poker Club. This is a new game that came out. You guys heard about it? Literally just came out. Called Poker Club.
Okay.
Poker Club. You know poker, the game, card game.
I'm aware
Yeah.
of its existence.
Familiar with it?
There's a new game that came out now, and it's a multi-platform game. So, Ben, you could be on your Xbox, Marius, you could be on your PlayStation, and I could be on my PC, and we could all be sitting on the same table playing the game. So, what does it bring new? I mean, we're talking just about Tetris. What does this one bring new to the formula? Okay, I've always liked poker games. I like poker anyway. So this one here, you have a highly customizable character, so you can make your character. I mean, I say highly customizable. There's, like 5 or 6 different faces, like 20 haircuts, kind of thing, But you can make it your own, right? Make your own character. You can dress your character in whichever way you want. Glasses, no glasses. You can have your you can have like an Atari controller as your card protector, stuff like that. Yeah. But when if I'm playing with you guys and you guys made your characters, and let's say 3 cards come out and there are 3 hearts, and then Marius goes like, "Shit, did I have a heart?" And then he goes and checks his cards again to see if he's got a heart, see if he's on the draw. I'm looking at your character. I see him going to check the cards. So certain tells you can tell when you're playing a home game. You have them on this game. Yeah. Also, if I'm looking at you with my character, if I'm looking at you, Ben, and I'm like trying to see what you're doing. Marius can look at me and see, oh, he keeps looking, so that's there, which a lot of poker games, like digital poker games, don't have, because the nature of the beast. That's there. That's ray tracing on this game. So if I have ray tracing on and Marius has glasses, I can see the reflection of the whole table on Marius's glasses, and there's lighting effects in ray tracing. Okay.
Can you see the reflection of my cards if I look at my cards with glasses on?
Unfortunately, not. That would be cheating. That would be cheating. But what the game is? You start the game, and it's you start on level 1, because it's all about level. You're leveling up your character, and they give you like 100,000, and then you can literally jump onto a table and start playing. And then the higher level you go, the bigger tournaments you can enter. But when you enter a tournament, you have to wait on a lobby, and then other players from the other consoles will join in onto the lobby with buy-ins, and you're actually doing a tournament against other players from across the world. More than that, it's a poker game, right? It's very. I mean, in terms of how it looks, the best looking poker game I played. In fact, it's one of the better looking games I played. Anyway, it looks great. And you get to play poker. You get to play poker, but you get to play poker against real players, and you get to see some personality, because they can bring in, they can dress in a certain way, or do things like that. Am I gonna play more of it? Yes, because I like poker. It's one of those games I can easily just jump in. Oh, let me go and do a quick tournament here, or play a bit of there, and just play a bit, and then just cash out, and maybe go and play something else. So it's yeah, it's a great game. The best.
Is there a fear of loss? Because I cannot play poker unless I know I'm losing real money. Otherwise, it's just not worth playing, in my experience. Do you feel like I'm going to actually lose prestige or experience?
So you get experience for everything you do. So you get experience for folding. When if I fold, and then you have a really good cards, it's like it was a good call, because you saw that they had nothing. You get points for bluffing, all of that. So there is definitely XP and learning and leveling up on it. In terms of fear of loss, not yet, because they gave me 100,000, and most of the tournaments I'm entering, you put like 1,000 here, 500 there, so I still got lots of money. I would imagine when you start buying into the top tournaments, and you start putting a lot of money into to get to those tournaments, if you lose, then you might get to the point where I haven't got enough money now to enter this tournament, so I have to go and start playing on the tables, like the back of a fish shop table again, or whatever, because I haven't got money to play on these more prestigious ones. So no, he hasn't got that, but that fear of loss yet for me. But yeah,
it might come.
I think maybe later on might have that, but I think you do want to. It does have the competitive place. I was playing against this guy, and he called. I knew he had nothing. I knew he was bluffing the way because of his betting pattern. I knew he was. It made no sense his betting pattern, so I called him out with an all-in, and I called him out with an all-in with a high card. Which, by the way, if I was in a tournament and I called somebody all-in and I have a high card only, an ace, that's it. That's all I have. Yeah. The commentators would have said, "My God, this guy is a poker player and a half, right?" And then on the river, he managed to get like a pair of twos or something. So you got lucky on the river and just got a card. Which, by the way, getting a pair of twos at the end means that from the two cards he had, one of the cards he had was the same as mine, and there was no flush, no straight draw. So that means that the only way to win the game, he had 3 outs, which is one of the other 3 twos so that 3 outs, which is 3. Then when you do the maths, it's like probably like a 2-3% chance of winning, and he got 2, and obviously he got, and then it pissed me off. So I joined the table again, and I managed to get into another lobby with him. And then I was just bullying him. So that is that. I was just trying to take his money. So it is definitely competitive, even though that is not for real money. But then again, it's a game, right? It's fun. It's fun to gamble when it's not your money as well. I think. Anyway, I really like it. I think it's a very good packaged game. Few bugs here and there, but I mean it's COVID. This year of COVID 2020, I'm not deducting as many points for bugs as I would be on a normal year because I appreciate it's hard to test some of these things when you cannot have your QA team all working in the same room and trying these things and certainly I'm talking less. I'm trying to talk less about bugs this year. I mean, I think at some point I'm gonna start saying again, sort your bugs out, people. But for now, I think I'm giving a carte blanche.
It's 2022.
To everyone, even to the big people like Ubisoft, because I guess we can move over to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because I've been playing that. My God, bugs! I mean, that game has crashed a few times, but again, 2020, go with. I'm giving him a carte blanche on the bugs as well.
But you wouldn't. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? What Assassin's Creed gets a pass, but Watch Dogs didn't get a pass for bugs and it crashing until a patch had come in.
Assassin's Creed has crashed a few times, two or three times. I started the game again, and the game started, and I was able to play again, no issues for the rest of the evening. Watch Dogs, I couldn't play the game. The game would not start.
Right,
I would restart my game.
Wasn't Watch Dogs supposed to come out last year as well? Am I making that up?
I'm not sure, but Watch Dogs was game breaking. Assassin's Creed was annoying. I played a lot more of Assassin's Creed. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I will be trying to finish the game next week before Cyberpunk. So I just want to touch quickly on it. I played a lot more of it. It's not as good as Odyssey. It is great though. Still a great game. I do prefer the Greek mythology versus Norse mythology. I do like what they've done here with this one, where they try to focus you more on the story. So there's not a lot of go and do all these side quests. They're very, very much optional. They're occurrences within the map, so you see them. So you can go and do them, and they tend to be short stories. They're okay, but I do like what they're trying to do. Like I said, to try and make you just do the main missions, and then you have these optional tiny side missions. I miss it, but I do miss the side missions. I think Odyssey had some great side missions, and I think I do like when a game does really good side missions. The Witcher, for instance, is a great example of that, where the side missions are actually better than some of the main story. I see what they were trying to do, but it's missing something. I think it might be the side missions. It might be the long, because Odyssey had some side missions which would be an hour and a half long. Like you go and help Archimedes or whatever, do this, and then before you notice, you fucking globetrotted all over the place to finish this thing. And the side missions on this one are a lot more like, do you want to do arching competition? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then you do it, yeah, you won. I'm like, great. So I think the side missions are missing a bit on this one. But also they changed with the Valhalla. They changed the way you progress. So they've upped the levels. I think Odyssey had up to 50 was pretty much everything, and then once you finish that, you could go higher. But what they done with the Odyssey was you had an option that you selected where every single mission would level up with you. So there would be missions which are too high level for you that you couldn't do. But and then obviously missions you can do. But any mission, say there was a mission at level 10, if you left it and then came back when you were level 30, that mission will now be level 30 in difficulty, right? To try and make it make it a better game. This one here, because at 300 levels, if I some of the missions I'm leaving behind, like level 20, I go and do them again, and I just look at the guy and the guy dies. You know, like it's not as fun. For me. Having said that, what they've done well on Valhalla is the mechanics are quite good. That you can take on something which is double your level. You know, like you might be level 80 and might be somebody which is like 160 with a big skull saying don't go near him. But if you're good enough and if you use the mechanics the game has to try and beat it, you can have a good battle and actually beat something which is a lot higher. So I quite like that aspect of it. In fact, I'm doing a lot of missions which are higher level because that's where I think the fun is on the game. So all of that to say, I think they got the balance slightly wrong on in terms of the difficulty, but I still like the game enough. I'm still gonna finish it, and I think it might still make an appearance at the end of the year on my games of the year, albeit towards the top part of that list rather than the bottom part, or whichever way you look at it. You know, it's not gonna be number one. It's good though. I recommend it. Right, I've talked about too many of my games. Let's move over to Ben. Talk about one of yours. You played the Gris. That was
Gris.
Gris.
Yeah. Have you guys played it?
I think.
Yeah, I played it fairly recently.
It's a very Ben game. So it's a puzzle platformer, more platformer than puzzle, and it's a very chilled game. It's basically going through the phases of grief and inner turmoil, if you like, through a very pretty watercolored hand drawn environment. And essentially, it's just a side scrolling platformer where the levels itself sort of develop as you're going through. You're sort of looking at a beautifully drawn landscape, and you're trying to work out where you've got to go. And without realizing, it sort of pushes you through in a very linear fashion. And it's a really hard game to explain, really. It is just a very pretty platformer. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Played it through, got the platinum for it. It's only a couple of hours. But yeah, it just follows the story of this girl, Gris, I assume her name is, or Gree. And it starts off in a fairly monotone world, and as you progress through the game, you unlock more colors, which adds more colors to the world, and eventually, obviously, it's towards the end of the game, you get all your colors back, which is sort of symbolizing her journey through from depression to happiness again, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really, really pretty game. It's a really, really chilled out game. The music is beautiful. It's, as I say, it's a very badass game. It came out a couple of years ago, and I highly recommend it if you like your sort of not strictly normal games. It's a very, very good.
Sounds interesting. No, Marius has played the game recently himself as well, and I think you quite liked, didn't you, Marius?
Yeah, I did. It was very nice. I think that's just how I would describe it. It's just a very nice game.
I mean, people liken it to Journey, and it's sort of that exploration of you don't really know what you're doing until you've done it, and then you realise you've actually got through a level, so to speak.
Speaking of Journey, I haven't played enough to talk about it, but I'll certainly talk about it. Well, maybe next podcast, we'll see. Because I played Pathless, by the way, and I played it on Apple TV, and my God, that game! They had to make it run on the Apple TV. They had to prop, like it's like pixel art. The game. I thought to myself, "This is pixel art. It looks rough. It looks really rough on the Apple TV." I have the Apple TV 4K, but I think it's came out like a few years ago. So it's probably not the processor. It's not as good as it could be, I guess. As I was playing it, the only thing I'm gonna say is, Marius, this is your game 100%. Pathless is
Yes, I know.
is like you for sure. I liked it enough that I thought to myself, I'm gonna buy the game on PC so I can play in ultra wide and play it properly. I want to play it, like with the full splendor of it. Yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. When you mentioned Journey, I thought straight away this game is a lot like Journey. I thought the Pathless, but maybe better. In some ways, you guys know I don't like Journey that much. Let's move over to Hades, though. You've been playing Hades, which is a game I played last year in early access, and I played again this year. A bit this year, and I think it's brilliant. Have you finished the game yet?
No, I mean, I bought it and then I played it a month later for a couple of hours. But in those couple of hours that I have played, it's a bloody great game. Obviously, you're working your way back through Hades, trying to escape, and there's so much story to it from just sort of one line or one or two sentences from each of the characters, and every time you die you find out a little bit more of the story. And it's a really, really good game. I know a lot of people have ranted and raved about it when it came out, and obviously it has been in early access for a while.
Yeah, you're trying to escape hell. You're going through the 4 levels of hell, trying to escape hell, and as you go through, you gain the favor of the gods, and you can have a different. It's one of those games. It is a roguelike, but every run you do, you're specking up the characters slightly differently. So you might get something that helps with a certain attack. So if you have that on, it gives more critical damage, etc. So you're specking up the character in every run. But it's just, and it's an isometric top, action game, twin shooter style, in a way, especially when you have one of the range weapons. It's a great example of a roguelike. And I loved it last year. I played it in early access. I finished it in early access. I've only actually finished it once, but when I actually played it again this year, played it recently, like a month ago or so, I actually. I said, okay, let me see. I don't remember anything about it. Let me just load up my save and go. And I started, and I went all the way to the final boss on my first attempt, because my guy was still.
Oh, nice.
My guy had all the upgrades you can get, which is the nice thing about roguelikes, is the being able to buy upgrades and making your guy.
When you die, you get a little bit better the next time round.
Which makes the run better. Yeah, I loved it. I think the artistic, the story is great. The voice acting on it as well is good. For some of I mean, there's not a lot of voice acting, but there's enough, because
no, the way that the characters interact is, like you say, they only talk to each other, one or two sentences throughout the level, or when you die, you go back and you speak to Hades, and Hades is kind of like, oh, you tried again, well, you failed, you suck. But over the course of the several hours that I have been playing, it sort of does build these character arcs, and you sort of want to die to get back to find out what Helios is doing, or I forget any of the other characters that are back at base. But what they did in terms of one or two sentences to tell a story from each character is really, really good.
And I saw games speed run of the game with the devs watching the game. Of this guy finished the game in like 20 minutes. On the fresh save, not if he go to the end, and it was probably on the fresh save, like start from the beginning. And actually,
so much story.
The devs were saying they had to add different dialogue lines to the final boss, because if you get there for the first time, he says something different. Like it's like, oh, it's not like you kept trying to get here, and it's like you got here.
Yeah.
So they had to they said they put it on just in case somebody would be able to finish the game without dying, and
Right.
and they were surprised that, oh shit, that happened faster than we thought.
Yeah.
So
It always happens faster than they think.
That's going to
doesn't
happen
it?
with the internet and video games.
yeah, but it's a great game. It's a great game for speedrunning as well. It's a great. And it's one of those games. Even if you don't play games like that, it's a fun speedrun to enjoy, because from unlike other speedruns where you see people just glitching, oh, let me glitch to this part of the map. It's the way that the guy was speedrunning that game was by playing the game. So the mechanics are good that if you're good enough, you can really make a difference. It's great, isn't it? It's I love that.
It really is.
I love Hades.
And like Dead Cells and Rogue Legacy, I love it, but I'm shit at it. So I've got to the first boss, if you like, several times. I keep dying. But again, I'm quite happy to go back through, play it again, get a little bit better. And like you say, with the lines of dialogue, there's never any repetition.
The final
the amount of
the final boss is a bitch. Final boss is a bitch, honestly. And as it happens, I managed to beat him on my first attempt. But the final section is so hard that you have to kind of like find a key, not a key, but essentially a key item to get you through, to get you to past Cerberus. And you have like 6 doors. And if you don't get it on your first 2 doors, you fuck, because you keep going through every single one, and then you keep losing health because that's bound to happen. Yeah. So and I got it on my 6th door, which is like bad. Like I had to go through everything, and I was like, I had nothing left pretty much for the final boss, and I just managed to cheese him. I kept hiding, and I managed to cheese him, but it was hard, man. My heart was racing when I managed to finish. I managed to get to the final boss a few times subsequently, and I didn't beat him. So that's how hard it is. It's great though. I love that game.
Have you played it, Marius? Are you into these sort of games?
You would like it.
I have not played it.
Yeah, you would actually like it, Marius.
It is a very, very good game. If like we said, precast like Bastion art style, the music's great as well.
It's Bastion. Essentially, the gameplay is like
Bastion,
like
the roguelike. Yeah,
but as a roguelike. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's great. Right, let's move on to the last one, because I'm not gonna. Sorry, Ben. The Google Stadia, I played around with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
No, I haven't got time. I haven't got time for that either.
That's fine. To be fair, skip the last other one as well.
Oh, skip the last one. Fair enough.
Yeah, it sounds awful. I think the title tells me enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skip it. I just put it on there as we were talking, but yeah, my battery's going to go on my laptop anyway shortly. So
okay.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to the why don't you part.
Whoa! Hold on.
Sorry. I forgot one game. Dykes and Bikes. Okay, let's talk about that one. No, sorry, Knights.
Knights.
Read that wrong. I did.
Really like this game. Again, it's a Game Pass game, so no excuse not to play. It's published by Double Fine, and you can absolutely tell. I think it's made by a fairly small, 2-person team. And it's very much a Double Fine type game. It's quite similar in style to Costume Quest, if you've ever seen or played that. Very sort of cartoony, and essentially you play these 2 girls sort of off on a adventure in a small sort of island off the mainland. One of the girls' fathers runs a golf course sort of on the island that's failing, and you go off to sort of search for treasure on this island to try and save your dad's business, sort of thing. And it's really cool, like the way the girls are talking, the friendship that builds up between them is really well done. When they imagine things, like you see that the things that they're imagining sort of come to life on the island. You can mod your bikes, put different things on, like sparkly things on the wheels and stuff like that. I'm never normally interested in any stuff at all like that, but there's something about this that made customizing the bikes seem to fit with the girls, and sort of customizing them to match the girls' personality. I thought was quite good. Like they make funny noises when they run, like kids would, which is really well done. It's just amusing. I think some of it is built for co-op. Well, it's clearly built for co-op, but I think certain sections more than others. There are certain mini games or puzzles, and like you can race each other to certain sections on your bikes, which obviously against the AI, it takes away a lot of the fun of that. And there's various other competitive elements that I think are wasted a bit on single player mode. But then the vast majority of the game I don't think really requires co-op, so it's a bit like I think there's a bit of disconnect there with them wanting to try and make a co-op game and make a single player game. And I think there's very much two halves there, which sometimes doesn't work. And I think this has the greatest goose in gaming.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, this goose is better than
The untitled one.
the untitled one. Yeah, definitely. He's also less of an asshole.
That's what I like about the untitled one.
Yeah, you would. But like, yeah, he always knows where stuff is. If they're looking for something, Goose always knows where to go to find it. So he sort of acts as your waypoint, and like he just has moments where the Goose just fucking appears out of nowhere to save the day, in weird and random ways. He's just like, the way the Goose just pops up to solve things is just very, very amusing. Yeah, I really like this game. I think it's really good. Highly recommend.
Speaking of Double Fine, when is Psychonauts 2 coming out? Because it must be soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know actually. Yeah. Is it
one thing
February maybe?
Maybe. One thing I like about Microsoft is that they're not afraid to just let somebody, like, fuck it, if you cannot make the, like, let them take a bit longer to make sure it's right, because they're not forcing anyone to do anything, which I quite like. I'm looking forward to that, actually. Psychonauts 2. Right. That does sound good. That game. I'm definitely gonna have a look.
Yeah, it was better than I was expecting it to sort of be. All right, bit mediocre-ish, but it was actually a lot. It was better, and I enjoyed it more than I was expecting. So
okay, right. Let's move over to now. We can move over to the Why Don't You, which is a part of the show where I give you a recommendation, and it's 'tis the season to be jolly. Nearly. I mean, I do have my Christmas tree up already. You can probably see it.
Oh, well, I was going to save that for the any other business section, but seeing as you've mentioned it,
yes,
I'm gonna do this now. I could see the lights flashing in the background, so I knew it was there.
Mhm.
Is there any chance of us getting a glimpse of how inappropriately sized your tree is this year?
Yes, you can have a look at the tree. I'll show you in a second. As it happens, this year I made a mistake last year, and the tree was so big last year that I couldn't open the door.
Whoa. Just to be clear, Bruno's made the mistake every year since I've known him.
This is the first year where, in fact, I can show you a picture on my phone. This is the first year where I did not make a sad mistake. The door can open almost fully. You can
almost fully.
Okay, so I would say a door to be called a door needs to at least open 90 degrees, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to go 180. 90 degrees is the minimum required, yeah? I would say this is opening to 80 degrees or something like that. So it's fine.
So it's not a door, is what you're saying.
Yes, not a door anymore. But let's just say that last year's one, I could hardly. Okay, that's a picture of it. I'm gonna put it on the camera now. So that's this year's.
Okay, yeah, it looks like you've actually got a sensible sized tree this year.
Yeah.
Normally they're folded over
at
the top of your door as well.
No, the door. You see the door next to it, so the door doesn't quite open the 90
Oh,
degrees.
the door's on the right. I'm just seeing the black triangle rectangle
That's-
behind
that's
it.
my-
Looks
that's-
like you
It does
put it
look
in
like
front
you've
of the door.
literally put it right in front
No,
of
no,
the
no.
door.
That's the oldie mod. But I'll show
Podcast
you.
gold.
I'll show you the one from last year. So Christmas tree.
Obviously, this makes great radio. Sorry, guys, but
Well, but people, if you're not, if you want to know what we're talking about, it's Monkey Tail UK on Twitch, and you can
Goes on the.
I don't know if I want to show this. So this is the same tree, same place last year.
Yeah,
So,
you. I'm slightly disappointed you've got a sensible tree this year. It was more fun when you had ones that wouldn't fit in your room.
Yeah, no, this year I've learned from my mistakes. But it is the season to be jolly, like I said. The reason I thought you were gonna ask why do I have the Christmas tree in November. I decided to go early because I think I got it from mine from IKEA, and I think if you go wait for the weekend, or if you wait for December, there's going to be massive queues and more risk of COVID and all of that. So I thought I'll go when and literally there was hardly anyone there when I went to pick my tree, and I was able to socially distance myself and pick a tree responsibly and bring it in. So that's why I got it earlier this year rather than.
That's why it's smaller, because it hasn't had that extra time to grow.
No, it was already cut. But that's a good job. Because I'm going to recommend a weird one. Okay, I'm going to recommend a movie that just came out called Happiest Season. And I'm gonna start by saying I don't think it's I don't know if it's for either of you, but I'm still gonna say it, and I think you probably should try it anyway. Happy Season. It stars Kristen Stewart, the Twilight girl, if you know. She's going to spend Christmas with her girlfriend, with at her family for the first time, and she's really not that much into Christmas. Her girlfriend is. So her girlfriend says, if you don't like Christmas, why don't you come and spend Christmas with my parents? We're gonna show you what Christmas is like, and you're gonna like Christmas, yeah. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll go. And then she takes that opportunity. I'm like, great, I'm gonna buy a ring, and I was gonna buy a ring anyway. I was gonna propose on it, so I'm gonna propose that there. But this is like beginning 5-10 minutes, and then as they go there, the girlfriend drops the bombshell that she actually hasn't come out to her parents yet, and she hasn't told them about her.
Wow.
So she has to pretend to be her roommates. So it's a comedy like that. You can the normal tropes of that type of comedy ensue of having to pretend to be first having to pretend to be just a roommate, and to actually not be gay. You cannot tell them you're a lesbian either. That type of stuff. Yeah. It's funny. It's to give you the level of humor. She leaves her friend to take care of the pets, to feed the cat and the dog, and she's on the phone with him going like, oh, everything's fine, but she hasn't told the parents about me, etc. All of that. Have you fed the cat? Yes. Have you fed the dog? Yeah. What about the fishes? Fishes. Yeah. that type of thing. And then the very next time you see that guy on the movie is scooping up the dead fish from the so that type of there's that type of thing. Okay. It's great. It's a great Christmas movie. It's
sounds like a classic Sunday afternoon movie to me.
And one thing I liked as well is obviously we don't talk about it that much because none of us are part of that community, but I do like seeing representation in movies, and I do enjoy not watching your normal boy meets girl, and you actually can see a movie.
It is nice to see some different things starting to happen in terms of casting and stories and things. I agree. Yeah, it's something that I didn't know I was missing until you start seeing those sort of things. I think because, like you say, not part of that. I don't fall into any of those minority categories, so it never really occurred to me. So I didn't realise I was missing it. But I think, I agree. Once you start seeing some more different things, it's more interesting, isn't it, than seeing the same white dude all the time.
I think so. And this one here was written by an actress. She's done a couple. This is her second movie. I like her as an actress. I'm forgetting her name now, but she's a gay person herself, and it was written by her and directed by her, and I think it's very authentic with. I believed every character. I believed everything on the movie, and I truly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie.
What was the name again?
Happiest Season.
That's the one.
And I think it's brilliant, and the acting is great on it, and it's genuinely funny. Honestly, there was some laugh out loud moments as well for me that I really liked. So yeah, something a bit different for Christmas. I thought, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'll be bringing Home Alone and Die Hard, in time, but this was a good way to start the season, right? And Ben, you want to talk about Some Trouble in China or something here?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because I've watched it for a while, but tonight I'm going to watch Big Trouble in Little China, which I highly recommend everyone watches because it's a really terribly great, funny old film from the 80s. But Marius, you probably you've seen it, I'm assuming, and you could probably actually explain. I'm just on Wikipedia.
Don't come to me with some half-ass "why don't you" and then try and put it on me, Ben. You tell us.
No.
And by the way, I've seen it as well.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But no,
is this the one you talk about a movie you've seen 20 years ago and now you're trying to remember it? Okay, fine.
No, I bought it yesterday and I'm going to watch it tonight. But Big Trouble in Little China is a cool sort of martial arts film with
question.
Whoa! For a start, I'm not having you call that a martial arts film, mate.
I'm just reading what Wikipedia says right now.
Well, Wikipedia can do one. It's not a martial arts film. There might be a small amount of martial arts in it, but to call that a martial arts film is shocking.
It's set in San Francisco, Chinatown, and there's some gang warfare going on, and some weird guy that tries to kidnap someone with green eyes to lift a curse or something.
Russell.
Yeah,
it is a good movie, but yeah, it's been so long since I've seen it, I can't comment too much.
Okay, I was getting my Kurt Russell movies mixed up here because I just had to quickly go. I knew it was a Kurt Russell movie. Yeah? That much I was certain. But I thought that's the movie he plays Snake, but it isn't, is it?
No, that's Escape from New York.
That's the one. That's why I was getting confused. That's a better movie, Escape from New York, by the way.
That is the better movie. I haven't seen that for a long time.
Just throwing it out there. If we're talking about movies we haven't seen in ages, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna. Here we go. I'm gonna drop another one, which I have seen recently. I've rewatched, which is from the same sort of. I think that falls into similar category to Big Trouble in Little China. Is Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Now I've seen Beverly Hills Cop not too long ago, and I think there's like 3 or 4 of them, and they're all generally good. But the first one specifically is brilliant. Yeah.
The first one's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Highly recommend Beverly Hills Cop. If for nothing else, for Eddie Murphy's laugh in it. Is brilliant.
What's the one where he goes and gets the gun from that gay guy, like the very camp guy? It's so funny.
The camp Surge. He's in the first one. They set that character up in the first one.
Yeah, it's so good.
And then I think that might be the second or maybe the third one he's moved from working in an art gallery to being like weapons dealer.
That's it, yeah.
It is good.
I like Beverly Hills actually. Yeah, that is a better. That is a better. If we're going back to that, and if we're staying on there, I'm gonna go Lethal Weapon as well. Lethal Weapon is actually excellent as well. A bit further up, and if you go to Lethal Weapon 4, now that is a movie with a bit of martial arts because you got Jet Li in it at least. More than what you just said.
All right, then my way, don't you? Then is watch a film from the 80s that you haven't seen for a while. There we go, changed it.
A movie from the 80s. That's you asking a question. A movie from the 80s that
he's telling people to do that.
That's why don't you?
Watch an old movie
from the 80s.
Watch an old movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen Back to the Future in a long time. So maybe that's it. Is that the 80s?
Yes.
85.
I mean, I can't not watch Back to the Future. It's on. I mean, I know you don't watch. You don't have a TV
Don't watch
to
TV,
watch
yeah.
telly through, but it's on constantly. So I watch Back to the Future quite a lot, to be honest.
I haven't
And
seen
why-
I haven't
why-
seen Back
why
to the
wouldn't
Future.
you?
I haven't seen Back to the Future in a long time, so maybe that's the one I'll go back to, because from the 80s, I think Alien. I see Alien often enough. I see Aliens. I think.
I think that was
Alien
70s.
79.
Yeah, it is 79, isn't it? Okay, Terminator, maybe? Terminator, is that 80s? Terminator?
Terminator's 80s. I'll
Yeah.
give you, yeah.
Okay, there you go, that's one.
Predator.
Predator, definitely.
Basically
You
anything
one
Arnie's been
ugly
in.
motherfucker. I like Predator, actually. I don't like Predator 2 so much. Predator 2 is not very good.
No, Predator. No,
I've not
nothing
seen it.
after the first one is just amazing.
There we go. There's my why don't you?
Cherry 2000. Okay, there you go. That's what
You keep going. Yeah, you've mentioned this before. I've seen the trailer and I refuse to go any further than that.
Watch Cherry 2000. It's the classic. It's a classic B movie.
Yeah, I think you gave this as a why don't you once. I'm sure that's how
I have. Okay, so Cherry, let me sell Cherry 2000 to Ben. Okay, so this is the future. Yeah. And you have a robot girlfriends, right? And this girlfriend short circuits, so he wants to go and get another model. So, but to go and get it, they don't make it anymore. So he has to go into this zone, which is like a no-go zone where only warlords live there, and he gets a guide, which is played by Melody Griffin, and she takes him there. But in a way, he falls in love with the real thing rather than the robot. It's really, really bad.
I'm just watching the trailer on mute now. It looks very, very interestingly weird.
Watch it. That's Cherry 2000. That's my okay. That wasn't my why don't you? Was it? No, what did I do? Oh, the happiest season. I've already done mine. What am I talking about?
I'm going to stick with Beverly Hills Cop and say go and watch Beverly Hills Cop.
Fine.
No.
Finally, before we do finish, I have started on typical Audible. I've started but not finished. I've started the Ready Player 2.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've got that.
Not gonna give anything away, but I did think, how are they gonna do this? And then, literally, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad at the end. It certainly got really good ratings already. You know, people that finished it already, and I'm certainly really liking it so far. But within the first 30 minutes, he was able to introduce something and change the thing that made it fine. This is where it was my series going crazy. This is where okay, I see where we're going here. I'm interested. Let me learn more. So within half an hour, he was able to make me interested in the Ready Player 2. So so far so good on that one, but more on that.
Nice. I've got it queued. I had a load of credits to use, so I've got it. I'll listen to it at some point.
Yeah. Good. Right. Do we any more business? You've done the Christmas tree already.
No, Christmas trees. That was the only business.
I'm sorry to disappoint for not having a stupidly big Christmas tree this year, but I've learned from my past mistakes. It's no, couldn't possibly do it. One year you couldn't move around the sofa. It was ridiculous. One year I got a 12-foot Christmas tree in my house. 12 foot. Yeah.
In your 8-foot room.
No. This is when I had a. We never. I don't know if you ever came to my old house. I had a stupidly high ceilings before. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
impossible to heat the house. The house was constantly cold. House you could not hit the house whatsoever. Yeah. Crazy. Right. Okay. That's good. Let's end it there then. I guess. So just like I started, I'll end. We are doing the game of the generation. So there was some talk about with precast about should we do it after or before the game of the year, because obviously some game of the year games might make their way into the game of the generation, but not so much for the game of the generation. But we don't want to have to do
we don't want to delay it too much. Just
delay it too much because we
went with the just get it fucking done option.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want, please do send your top 5 games of the generation. That's from November 2013 to November 2020. That's the time frame. The games could come out on anything. Could be Go Fit on iPhone. Will that make an appearance? I don't know. Maybe not. But hey, it'll be on the short list. That's for sure. It could be a PC game. It could be a Switch game. It could be anything. But it needs to be during that time. And yes, I understand that the Switch generation has not finished yet. But we say in the Sony and Microsoft are the ones bookending the generation for me anyway.
Microsoft, Nintendo are always doing their own thing anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. But you can absolutely include a Nintendo game, and I'm sure there's gonna be one or two making an appearance on my list certainly. So yes, do send your lists. The next podcast will be doing that. So it'll be a slightly different podcast where we're just gonna be going right into the generation, talk about the consoles and the mishaps and the changes and the games that came out. I think it's a tale of exclusives. I think that's what it would be. I was looking at certainly when it comes to the Xbox and PlayStation. I was looking at again this morning, and my God, the PlayStation exclusives are so much better when it comes to exclusives. So much better. But then we'll talk about it on the next podcast.
Save it for.
And then I think the podcast after that will be the game of the year, right? Is that what we read? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the next 2 podcasts. So the next 2 podcasts are going to be slightly different, and then we go back to normal reviewing games we've been playing and all of.
I won't be here. It'll be just you two and.
Yes, we're gonna try and get Adam in here as well. We really like his lists.
We can try and get Adam for both of those if we can. If not, we'll get a list off him, I think.
Yes, absolutely, because his lists are great. So that's the next couple of podcasts. But that's it for me. In the meantime, lockdown is nearly ended. So, but don't go crazy. Remember, there's still a virus out there. Just because the R number is down again doesn't mean it cannot go up again. So just don't go crazy. Don't go hugging any strangers if you can avoid it. And wear a mask, be responsible, and we can all get through this together. I think. I'm gonna say I've been great.
I've been hungry. I'm gonna go and eat a mince pie.
I'm gonna go and get some food as well. I'm gonna make a roast today. I haven't made the roast in a long time. I'm gonna make a roast today. That's what I'm making. I'm gonna say this already now. I make the best roast potatoes. Period. That's it.
Find that hard to believe, but all right.
Have you tried my roast potatoes?
No, I haven't.
So why would you find it hard to
believe? Have you tried everyone else's?
Yeah, because you haven't tried everyone else's.
Everyone else's has tried. I know better than mine.
Ah.
How do you like them apples?
Very different.
Right then, fucking end the podcast.
All right,
that'll do.
Well, Monkey Tail at podcast at monkeytail.co.uk for the
stuff.
For the top
for
5
stuff.
bullshit. Yeah, and I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.